We're going to be reviewing some Iron Man books. Iron Man is probably one of my favorite superheroes in the world. This is like, he's like my biggest superhero collection, So we're going to be reviewing some of those stories. Okay. First up, Demon in a Bottle. It's a pretty good story. It's written by David Michelinie and Bob Layton. It delves into his alcoholism problem.
The first of its kind as far as I'm aware, but I could be wrong.
The summary would be, at first, it starts off with a battle with Namor, but again, before then, he's on the brink of losing his company, and the way he copes with that is alcohol. It's a deeper and deeper trench for himself, eventually going as far as to encourage Jarvis to resign as his butler. Bethany Cave, or Cage, she does her best to help Tony Stark recover from his addiction. Pretty powerful panel here. Bethany Cave, her story, she relates a bit, seeing Tony Stark suffer from alcohol and addiction, because her previous boyfriend suffered from addiction to, fentanyl pills. Solid. It is groundbreaking for the time it was written in. However, it doesn't do problem with alcoholism and recovering from addiction enough justice, at least not as enough justice as the next book that I will review. I'm giving this one a solid 8 out of 10. If you've never read Iron Man before, this is the one you should go to if you don't feel like reading Tale of Suspense 39. Right, now it's better than Demon in a Bottle. The Invincible Iron Man, written by Dennis O'Neil. If I were paid $10 trillion and a hand job for this to not be my favorite, I would not take it. It is one of the greatest stories, in my opinion, ever written. Dennis O'Neil does such a great job at illustrating how, recovering from addiction goes. It's beautiful. It is fucking beautiful. Rhodes takes over Iron Man for a time, which is cool. He was actually the Iron Man for Secret Wars. That wasn't Tony Stark. Going back a little bit, Tony Stark, he rejoins the group. He is still recovering. He's not ready yet to be Iron Man, even though he's with the main group. Again, it is fucking phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Indisputable. Next one, Dragon Seed Saga. It doesn't follow immediately after Dennis O'Neil's run, because after Dennis O'Neil's run, they do Armor Wars after this, which was also written by Bob Layton, which is another solid story. This one, however, it's solid. It's not the best. It's not really fair, in my opinion, for it to follow immediately after Dennis O'Neil's run. This story was written 2 years after the events of Tiananmen Square. They reference, Tank Man a lot. It's more of a clash of ideologies. Another character turns into a dragon, and a bunch of dragons come in to fuck the Mandarin. Honestly, yeah, no, it's more of a clash of ideologies. If you like, historical stuff, this one, I'd go with this one. I don't think the Mandarin is typically communist. He's more of an imperialist kind of guy. This has a really strong ending. This has a really, really strong ending. It's Moments Unseen. The main love interest is Dr. Su Yin. However, she is under influence by her government. They end up going on one date, but that was at the desire of the government. Eventually does ask Su Yin to marry. He says, yeah, I'm already married, which he accepts. He takes it like a champ. Goes and visits Yusen. He talks with a boyfriend who is also a cripple. He relates with the cripple story because he's basically on death's door because they can't fix his fucking brain surgery. Yusen then gets back and he's done talking with the guy. It ends on, remember that I love you, too much to ask you to tie yourself to a cripple. Ooh, 7 out of 10. It picked up at the end. Kurt Busiek's Iron Man. Oh my. This run was fucking solid. This was a good run. They revamp a bunch of villains. They bring back main cast, Happy, Pepper, Rhodes. They revamp the Mandarin and Controller. They turn Mandarin, right? They pull him away from this ethnic stereotype that he once was, back in the 50s and 60s. A more of a philosophical technology dude, right? In this one, he comes to this revelation. Feudalism is still around, but I thank you and the heart for such a valuable lesson. I thought to destroy technology, to erase 2,000 years of progress and restore feudalism, but I discovered that feudalism was not dead, merely as transformed as I, coolies, masters, magistrates, mandarins. The manual labor of the peasants generated power, which plowed ever upward, growing greater at each level until it rested in the hands of the truly deserving, the noble classes, and nothing was ever changed. My coolie labor enriched those above me and above them, until it reached you, Anthony Stark, feudal lord of a modern age. He was jumped by some assassins the Mandarin sent, and Spy Master. Not really Spy Master, he just kind of sat there, see, boom, assassins. The Spy Master's right there, not really doing anything, just looking. Afterwards, he fights MODOK, right? This one's pretty good. A classic Captain America Iron team up. They're fighting AIM in this one, MODOK. Is then granted power to do anything with anyone's mind. He erases the knowledge that Iron Man is Tony Stark from everyone else's mind. To Captain America, this is a breach of trust. A pretty heated back and forth. Could you please dramatize it more? Hardly controlled people's minds. You make me sound like Mentallo. You two had a lot in common in that moment, as frankly you did with a lot of men I fought, who thought they had the right to have people think only the thoughts they approved of. You say what you did was okay. Ask yourself this, would Mentallo's actions have been okay if he'd had a goal you thought was noble? They eventually do make up when they encounter like a village sort of MODOK this time, and like mind controlled. The people on that island were like, no, we like being this hive mind, we enjoy it. He's having trouble with this decision because it's eventually placed on his shoulders to reverse the actions of MODOK. Iron Man says, this time you make the call. Subvert the will, the freedom of these people, or watch them die once AIM reaches the island. He eventually does make a decision, and they're all reverted back, and S.H.I.E.L.D. gets there quickly. Tough day, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness all took a thrashing. Still friends? Never stop being. I still think you overran your boundaries, Tony, that your ends didn't justify your means as neatly as you say they did. But I also think I tend to be a little judgmental sometimes, particularly when it comes to issues of independence and personal rights. I'm not saying I condone your decision, but I suppose I understand more where you're coming from. And all things considered, we're still on the same side. Satisfying ending. Very satisfying. Tony Stark runs into Natalie Portman. She tells Iron Man, you just took thrashing from Mandarin, a bunch of dudes. You are dying. And the suit is making that worse. It's apparently killing like his healthy bacteria, his healthy cells. He runs into Carol Danvers when this one is just, at first she was Miss Marvel, now she's just Warbird. They have a little talk, Warbird and Tony Stark. A regular Iron Man, that's me. How are you doing? Managing? I have a problem, I know that, but I can lick it. I'm pretty strong too. And hey, when you're back in town, I'll buy you dinner. Tony Stark gets admitted to a hospital, which it's being run by just the controller. In this one, the main love interest is pretty solid, Rumiko. She's Japanese, but she's more like a rebel, you know? But I always feel confined whenever anyone tries to control me, and it always makes me want to rebel, to break away. That's why I do the whole globe-trotting, not grown up yet, goofy gal thing. It's a way of telling my family that I won't be what they expect of me. She's her own person. Controller, right? Mind controlling their minds. The main head doctor, he sees Iron Man flying around because Tony Stark brought Iron Man with him, even though he's not supposed to, make a more refined suit. But Controller doesn't know that. Controller doesn't know that Iron Man is Tony Stark. Controller has mind control shit set up at like the bed, you know? Like stupid talk him into saying like, yo, you're gonna do whatever I want, basically. Anyways, Rumiko's there to go sightseeing with Tony Stark, going out on dates. At night, Tony Stark's running tests on his Iron Man suit. Controller doesn't know that. At first, he wants to mind control Tony Stark into firing Iron Man. Going out to Point Reyes with Rue, short for Rumiko. Got a little paperwork to polish off with Happy, got to fire Iron Man. Huh? Fire Iron Man? But, see, it doesn't really make sense. Controller doesn't know that though. Tries to assault Iron Man at night. Tony Stark isn't in the suit, he's like controlling it from like a floating wheelchair sort of, controlling it on his like gaming laptop. Controller runs back to his like main hideout and he realizes, okay, something's up. I'm gonna control Rumiko next to influence him to fire Iron Man. Rumiko heads down to where Iron Man is, down at like the beach sort of. She's like, you know, I really think she'll fire Iron Man. She doesn't know Iron Man's Tony Stark. She admits that, I don't know, it's just a impulse, just a thought. Something's wrong here. Something's wrong. To Rumiko, you will use your influence with Stark. All Iron Man does is attract danger and complicate his life. If he loves you, he will fire Iron Man immediately. Tony, if you love me, but she does catch herself. No, I do not do ultimatums. So then she admits, like, okay, something's wrong. I was too harsh on him earlier, so I'll go apologize. She eventually knocks on the door, and the door is locked. She decides, all right, I'm gonna lockpick the fucking door. He must be asleep, but that's okay. I'll just surprise him. We can make up even more cozily. Ooh. She gets out lockpicking kit from Studio Ghibli plush. Lockpicks it. See the two mind-fucking Iron Man is caught by Controller. He then eventually turns into Palpatine, goes to put on the Iron Man suit, even though it is very detrimental to his health, and kick the Controller's ass. However, to Rumiko, he just walked out on her. Dude, what the fuck? I'm not clear on a lot of last night, but I have this vague memory, and you running away. Rumiko, she invites him to just take a vacation with her. It's okay. That's pretty much what I thought. See you around, maybe. We now move on to Fantastic Four. He finishes the suit. Ronan has Sue. He calls Sue her mind slave. Fantastic Four, ambushed by the Golden Avenger. March number 15. Sue cosplaying as Doom. Iron Man hops through like a portal sort of, but it fucks up with his electricity. He just starts attacking everyone and everything. But they eventually get him to calm down, help him defeat Ronan. Now, I know that Reed Richards and Sue, but the relationship goes pretty deep, and this one kind of highlights it. Even though his wife looks like, you know, E.T., he still says, I love you, and she cries, and reverts back a little bit. They eventually defeat Ronan. How would I rate this? 9 out of 10.